The All-Star break is looming and the bats are booming. Kinda. We'll talk about it now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Gerrit.
I'm Nate.
And judging by Owen's Instagram story 2 hours ago, he will not be here tonight.
Where's Owen?
He's on a beach somewhere.
Must be
beach.
nice.
Yeah. Hey, Owen.
Oregon sucks.
Let's see. The Mariners have had two really good games. They put up double digits in back-to-back nights. That was pretty nice to see the bats going and cooking early and often.
Yeah, it's really good to see what it looks like when we're clicking on all cylinders for once.
That's a lot of runs.
They set the season high for runs in a game with 13 against the Orioles after dropping a 10 spot on the Yankees the night before.
That was fun. They put up 7 runs in 1 inning.
All with 2 outs.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. And the Mariners have been doing that more. Like, even when Lynn struck out 16 Mariners and lost last Sunday, they lost 5-1. He struck out 16 guys. But we ended up getting all of our RBIs with 2 outs as well that game.
Yeah, Kelenic with the big bases clearing triple. That was huge, big moment for him. And yeah, I mean, in a day where the Mariners would typically lose, you strike out 16 times in a game, you think you're probably not going to come out on top, but they held strong, and then once they got into that bullpen after Lance Lynn, they really blew it wide open.
Yeah, it was nice to take that last game of the White Sox series and take a series win going into the Yankees series where it got a little bit tough for us again.
Should have had the series win.
Yeah, those first 2 games wasn't even fun baseball against the Yankees.
That's
it
true.
was so boring just listening to it and just nothing was happening.
I was having a pretty bad time listening to those games.
Yeah, it was not fun. And again, we talked about, this is the time for the Mariners to show up against the Yankees. You take notice. And they did salvage it the last game of the series, dropping a 10 spot on them. Should have been 10-0. There was a 2-run bomb off Flexen in like the bottom of the 9th, but obviously garbage time doesn't matter. But then again, also in the first 2 games of the series, the Mariners scored 1 run in the first game and 2 runs in the second game. And all those runs came in the 8th inning or later. So their backs were already against the wall, and it wasn't enough to get the dub. So that was kind of a rough series that was salvaged at the end. Now on to the Orioles.
Splitting the series as of right now. We're 1-1. We got another game to end it tomorrow. Hopefully we can come out with the dub.
Yeah, another afternoon game. A little Sunday afternoon action.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming out of the Yankees series, scoring 10 runs, we ended up outscoring the Yankees in the series, right? Or it was close. What did we score? 10, 12, 13 to
8.
Yeah, we ended up outscoring them, which was nice. And it's good to see that we can put up that many runs against a tough team. And then, into the Orioles, we faced Kyle Gibson, and he has a lot of different kinds of pitches he can use in his arsenal, and the Mariners took really good approach at the plate and, just hit the pitches in the zone. They left so many pitches out of the zone and made him work so hard through 3 innings and ended up putting up 13 runs. And that's what we want to see is like an approach where we're looking for that pitch to hit finally. Like there seems to be some more cohesiveness in the approach.
Also, it seems like the Mariners have kind of this all or nothing offense where, unfortunately, most of the time it's been nothing. But they tend to have like these offensive explosions where everything is clicking. Today's game, though, against the Orioles, the back and forth ended up losing in the 10th and the 11th. Extra innings, walk-off 2-run home run for the Orioles. But I will say this game today was one of the most fun games of the year. I mean, it was a back and forth battle all game. And even with the Mariners not coming out on top, I felt like it's been such a long time since the Mariners have had an all-around fun, intense game like that. Because either it's nothing is happening, or even with a win, striking out 18 times in a game. But today, I mean, they would tie it, give up the lead, battle back. It was very, very fun to watch today, or listen to. I was on the golf course today, but it was fun.
Yeah, this week did feel like more of how Mariners baseball should be played. I mean, yeah, getting the series dub as you talked about on Sunday against the White Sox, that was a really good game, won 5-1. You know, that's the kind of games that we're gonna have to win, score more than 4 runs and give up less than 3. And our pitching was dialed in that day, as you said. Yankees games were disappointing. The final scores came out, you know, not terrible. It was 1-3 and 2-4, but man, it felt like we lost a lot more than that.
Yeah, they were pretty miserable.
Felt like we lost those games like 14-0 or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And then we woke up again finally on Thursday, 10 against the Yankees, 13 against the Orioles, and then today was, you know, I wouldn't call this a bad loss at all. It's unfortunate. We battled though, stayed in the game, pitching did well, defense was solid, offense we had pop. I mean, you score 4 or more runs in a game, you know, you're like, okay, you know, at that point the game could go either way. And I feel like maybe if this was a game at home, maybe we get the walk-off when we get the last at bat. But, you know, to lose on a walk-off 2-run home run, Topa missed his spot. It happens. Drove it out to right center field, and that's the game. But not one of those depressing Mariners losses like those first 2 Yankees games where we just couldn't hit with guys in scoring position, couldn't hit with nobody on base, couldn't get on base at all until after the 8th inning in both those games. And this game we were scoring, we were getting on base, battling back. You know, O's take the lead, we tie it in the bottom of the inning. They take the lead again, the top of the next inning, we tie it again in the bottom of the inning.
Yeah, it was really good energy today. This is the kind of baseball we want to see our team play. And we really had a chance to win. And, you know, Mike Ford hitting 2 home runs helps a lot. They're only solo shots, and he got it done late in the game against a really tough back end of the bullpen.
Felix Bautista's nasty.
Oh, my gosh.
Throwing 101.
He's the new Aroldis Chapman around here. Like, he's huge. He's gassing. And that was really nice to see. Like, Mike Ford's kind of been our Carlos Santana, where he's hitting bombs in clutch moments, but still hitting under 200 somehow.
At least for the last week or so.
Yeah, we'll take that for now.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice, even with this loss, there's so many positives in it. Mike Ford, hitting the 2 bombs, including in the top of the 9th with 2 outs to tie it, to send the game into extras. That was huge.
That was clutch.
Yeah. And Julio had an amazing home run robbery in the 7th inning. So lots of positives in this game. JP hit a home run.
A weird
He's
triple
back.
home run.
Yeah.
It was a home run.
It was a home run. It just took a weird bounce off the wall.
Yeah, he smoked that ball on the line there. That was cool.
Yeah. So many positives from today's loss. Another thing I was kind of thinking about, that JP injury, he missed 2 games with a hurt shoulder. Obviously, you never want to see someone injured or any type of discomfort or whatever, but I think that 2 games rest for JP was a blessing in disguise. He was having kind of some rough at bats, and his fielding, he was a little bit more shaky. There, we forgot to mention last week, he had that one pretty bad error because he was trying to get too flashy and cute, and it would have been an easy play, easy ground ball out, and he tried to get cute with it and airmailed it. And that type of player you can't really bench, because benching is a punishment, and a pretty severe one. So with him kind of having those struggles and then having to take 2 games off to kind of reset, I thought that was surprisingly beneficial.
It was kind of a good reset, kind of a blessing in disguise, because you're not gonna bench him for making an error, going, what was he up to that point, like 2 for 15 at the plate in his last week or something.
Yeah, he was slumping a bit.
Yeah, slumping a bit. You're not going to bench him, obviously. He's your longest tenured player. He's pretty much the leader of this team, has been solid all year. I mean, so kind of an unintended reset can be kind of nice sometimes, and we saw that play out today.
For sure. Yeah, that is nice. And he's a guy that, like you're saying, likes to be out there every day. Yeah, kind of let him take a rest every now and then, or kind of force him to precautionarily be like, yeah, JP, we're, take it easy. because I know you want to be in there, but we're, and we get to see Caballero at short is the point I'm trying to make. Like, we get to see what Caballero looks like because Dylan Morris seems to be playing more like left field. And I don't know what we do, but it was nice to see Cabs play short. He's pretty good out there. He's an all-around athlete and has super high baseball IQ, and I think we're going to have him stick around for a while, even though there may be some more moving pieces soon. We'll see how he fits in. I think he's here to stay, and he's been pretty good. I like our rookie Caballero that came out of nowhere and stuck around. He's making a difference on this team and has like a 400 OBP, and that's what we need. So,
yeah, I mean, Cabs is pretty much if you think about it, he's our this year version of last year's Sam Haggerty, kind of that guy that you did not expect to all of a sudden get on base 40% of the time and be able to play multiple positions. I mean, he's played, second and short for us now. Haggerty last year, played outfield and second base, and he's kind of our this year version of Haggerty for sure.
Yeah, infield extraordinaire. It's all around good player, nuisance. He's a nuisance on the base path. He's fun. I think he brings a good energy to this team, and someone that was not on our radar before spring training, which is cool.
I love his use of the pitch clock and how he pisses pitchers off. Like you saw Gerrit Cole nearly cry on the mound.
Oh my God, Gerrit Cole.
That guy's the biggest bitch in baseball. I hate him.
He's such a fucking nerd.
And he spells his name wrong.
Yeah, dude, everything about Gerrit Cole sucks, especially his annoying ass voice. A little mix of Kermit the Frog and Morty.
Don't wag your finger at me. No. I'll wag my finger back.
Oh, geez, you better not be calling time.
Too bad he struck out Cabs there, though. I
know.
You know what? Credit where credit is due. We talked about it in the group chat. Like, it was actually kind of a boss move that he was pissed at Cabs, whatever. He was throwing a bitch fit because Cabs called time. So then he airmails one over his head, which honestly wasn't even that threatening. Like, he didn't chin music him. He floated it over his head, which is still his way of sending a message, and then struck him out with a fastball the very next pitch. And you're like, damn.
I will say the umpire missed a call on that at bat, though. It should have been after that, what was strike 3 to him, that should have actually been 2-2. Because he wasted a pitch thrown over his head, and it should have been, 2-2 at that point.
Gerrit Cole's playing mind games with the umpire, too. He's throwing one way up and out to change his eye level so he gets the call on the next pitch, dude. No, it was weird to see Gerrit Cole throw that weird floaty pitch over Caballero's head. It was awkward and not threatening, but still sending a message. I don't know. It was kind of soft. He should have just pitched and done it on the he's a good pitcher. I mean, I don't like his attitude and style and everything, but he can pitch. And he should have just
forbid somebody
pitched.
try to manipulate the rules to benefit themselves.
Also, he was
Didn't
a
even
fucking cheater.
Manipulate the rules. Cabs was well within the rules. He was following literally the rules to a T. He knew when he had to be looking at the pitcher. He knew when he could call time. He knows when he has to be in the box. He's not even manipulating the rules. And Gerrit Cole's like, well, I should be able to do whatever I want.
Also, Gerrit Cole used hella the sticky stuff. And then when they asked him about it, they're like, have you ever used sticky stuff? And he's like, oh, geez, guys, I don't know how to answer that question. Well, it's a yes or no, dipshit. So
Yeah.
God.
That's what I'm getting at. It's mad at Cabs for calling time when he's a known sticky stuff guy.
Yeah.
Dude, chill the fuck out.
So a cheater is calling out someone that's following the rules and using it to their benefit. That
Yeah.
just didn't make sense to me.
It's hard.
I
to
mean, we
be-
could turn this into a whole hour-long podcast about how much we hate Gerrit Cole, how much of a bitch he is. But I
Also,
don't
he
wanna do
looks
that.
like such a douchebag now because the Yankees rules of can't have any facial hair or long hair.
He does look funny without a beard, man.
Yeah, dude, he sucks. And his hair's all short. He
Yeah.
sucks.
With long hair and a beard, he kind of looked badass when he was on the Astros throwing heat. But he looks like a total pinhead now. It's funny.
Pinhead Larry.
Yep, he's an ugly
Yankees.
cheater. Let's move on from Gerrit Cole.
He can
Enough
catch
about
his
him.
hands though, for real.
Please.
There's only one way to spell Garrett, and he's doing it the wrongest way.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
That's all I have to say about that.
Also, it's so funny in New York. how much they hate Josh Donaldson, and when
With his error, yeah.
with his error. Also, that error, it was like 2 errors on one play, but the throw wasn't even bad. It hit that pitcher right in the glove and just like went through. But I don't know where I was going with that. Honestly,
The Yankees like to boo Josh Donaldson, and that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is
they
pretty
want
funny.
him out of there.
Yeah, they want him gone.
All right, well, the Mariners here on Sunday are playing the third game of the Orioles series, and George Kirby is pitching. And I see George Kirby going deep into this game. I think he continues the trend of becoming an ace-type pitcher. I think he goes like 7 innings and dominates the edges again. He's really been showing that he's taken a huge step forward and can be a legit like top of the rotation style starter. I can't wait to see what Kirby can do, and I hope he's an all-star this year. I think that he's the top of my list on our team for all-stars.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And yeah, I do see him kind of having he already had his bounce back start. He's had really only 2 bad starts this season against the Yankees and the Pirates. And right? Those were the 2.
And that'll happen to everybody. I forget who we got.
Was it the Phillies?
The Phillies?
Oh, yeah.
the
It was Phillies and Yankees, yeah.
That's right.
He got touched up by them. Good fastball hitting teams, and that'll happen. But yeah, no, like you said, I see him going deep in this game just with his command. You know, he's not going to rack up 40 pitches in the first 2 innings or something like that. You know, he's always going to be dotting red around the corners. I mean, depending if they're calling the corners or not, you know, who knows, but...
Yeah, it'd be nice for Kirby to go deep, especially using as much bullpen as we did today on Saturday. And Munoz left the game with lightheadedness also.
You're a little dizzy guy.
It was weird. It looked like he maybe fell off the mound a little funny. We weren't sure. Nothing looked bad, and the conversation looked like he wanted to keep pitching. He looked really serious. Like, no, I'm good. Hey, let me throw. But I guess Gino saw something, and after Cal already went out and talked to him, everyone came out, and the trainer came out, and I don't know. They took him out of the game precautionarily because he was lightheaded and flush. I don't know. It's hot and muggy over there right now too. So
yeah, it looked like Gino recognized that right away, and even before the trainer or Scott came out, he was adamant, getting them to try to come out. He's like, "Yo." And at first I was concerned at that point. I was listening on the radio and it was Munoz coming out of the game and I'm like, oh, God damn it. Is this an arm or his ankle or something acting up again, or his ankle or his foot? But yeah, no, after the game, Scott said, yeah, it was some weird lightheadedness. He was kind of dizzy. Scott went out there and he said his face was flushed white. He was either some kind of illness or, maybe like you said, it was hot, muggy, humid. It was 80 degrees there with, probably 80% humidity on the East Coast. Maybe just some dehydration. Hopefully that's all it is, and it's not he has the flu and he's out for a few days or something. So,
yeah, I've been watching it on TV. The broadcast team was talking about how he may have pulled something or he stepped off the mound weird. And even in the replays, Matt and I were both like, I don't see it. I don't think anything weird like that happened. So, good thing it's just a little lightheadedness. Hopefully he's fine. No long-term illness or anything.
Mariners have had they've been bit by the injury bug a little bit this year. So a lot of our pitchers have been affected. It's just been kind of a weird year for us health-wise, especially because the Mariners were so healthy last year, especially the pitching staff. So to see kind of so many injuries this year, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, we were expecting Robbie Ray to be in there making starts all year like he was last year. Good or bad, it's Robbie Ray, and he can dominate or get blown up, But we wanted to see him have another healthy year at least, and that's been missing. But luckily we have enough pieces to plug in. We've built our pitching staff up depth-wise in our farm system for a while now, and we're seeing them all emerge. It'd be nice to have Robbie Ray. Even Marco Gonzalez has been missing, and
he's been gone for a while.
Feels weird, but at the same time, Woo is coming into his own and showing that he can be nasty. He pitched really well against the Yankees.
Yeah, that was a great start.
And Bryce Miller, it's hit or miss. It depends on who can hit his fastball. It depends on the day for him. He's pitched fairly well, and I really like what he can do. He does have an elite fastball, some nice sliders, like different versions of his slider that he throws. But, we'll see what happens when Marco gets back and we get towards the trade deadline, because I think our pitching is the strength that we're going to trade from.
Oh, we're going to have to. It's
Yeah.
going to be moving some serious pitching talent.
We'll see, because we're showing off all our talent. We're not going to get Robbie Ray back. If we have Marco, are we going to stick with him, or are we going to stick with the young guns and not trade those guys? It's kind of hard, because I like both of those guys right now. I like Miller a little more than Woo so far, because we've had a bigger taste of what he can do, I think. I want to see more from Woo, and as we get towards the trade deadline, I mean, those guys have to be very attractive to any team that needs starting pitching, even right now at the major league level. So, I don't know. What can we get back for those kind of guys? Like, they seem very valuable.
Well, last week we identified Lars Nootbaar and Tommy Edman from the Cardinals as potential trades we could make.
I still love that.
And then this week it came out that Mariners have been in the talks with the Cardinals, but probably not about Lars Nootbaar or Tommy Edman.
I think Brendan Donovan is who we should go after.
That seems to
with
be
them.
like one of the names that they're actually targeting.
Yeah.
From one of the quote unquote sources or whatever that floats these trade rumors around, it sounds like the Cardinals, for them, Lars Nootbaar is off the table. But,
Makes sense.
you
That's
know,
not surprising, honestly.
I love Lars Nootbaar, and if we could package anything with him, I'd be super happy. But yeah, going Brendan Donovan route seems very viable as
maybe
well.
we get a Donovan Edmund package for, like who would you throw in there? Maybe a Woo and someone at the minor league level, and a draft pick or some cash or something. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could go with that.
For sure.
It's true. We do have 3 pretty close together draft picks. I think it's like 22, 29, and 30, somewhere like that.
I think we have 3 first round picks in this upcoming draft.
Yeah,
They're like
Garrett, I think
23,
that's right.
27, and 29 or something.
Yeah, there's another little piece that we could offer in a package.
Yeah,
Not necessarily for those guys, just in general. Just thinking about, there's money, major league players, minor league players, and draft picks.
Oh, baseball, you can't trade draft picks.
You can trade these draft picks. The one that we got for Julio making Rookie of the Year.
Oh, it's like they're called like competitive picks.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
that's
can
like a
trade.
Because like you
bonus
can't like baseball's like the only sport where a lot of other sports trading draft picks is like the main source of trades. You're not really trading for players, or if you are getting a player, you're shipping off tons of draft picks. Baseball is different where you can't do that, except there's also like 50 different, because you've got like Rule 5 draft picks.
Yeah, we
traditional
can
draft
trade
picks.
off like our international signing, like draft pick or like a Rule 5 pick. It wouldn't be like the main major league draft pick. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think this one is something to do, like Garrett was saying with Julio. I think it's because we extended him like pre-arbitration. I don't know. It's some weird stipulation where
it was
it's like a
'cause
bonus pick.
It was because he won Rookie of the Year. We got an extra trade pick. That was one of the new things they did to incentivize like calling up young players rather than manipulate their service time and call them up, like later in the year. If a player is on your opening day roster and wins Rookie of the Year, is even like top 2 or 3, you get like a supplemental draft pick in the next year.
Yeah, I remember that being implemented. That's nice that, we got the benefit of that. And Julio performed well last year. He's not performing up to standards right now. I think he's still kind of pressing a little bit.
He knows it. He seems
Yeah,
frustrated after his at-bats.
Yeah, and again, it's not like he's awful. It's not like he's in the shitter. He's just not performing up to par. Still, though, good defense, great defense. Again, the home run robbery today was super sick. And it's coming around a little bit, but still no clutch factor. How many times has he come up in the 9th inning this year with runners on and just needing to do something. And he has that. I think that, to me, that's the most frustrating part of Julio's game right now, is just the lack of coming through in those big moments. And you're supposed to be the star of this city, man. And you can be, but you got to come through when the time calls.
And also is grounded into the second most double plays on our team behind Ty France, I think. So
And he's fast, too.
He's
so
hitting the ball into the ground a lot. And He is fast. And he was beating out a lot of those last year. The bases are bigger and I think he's hitting the ball hard, but right at a guy on the ground, right? Right at the shortstop a lot is what I've seen.
I think that is kind of a roster building issue at this point, though, too. I mean, we pretty much built this roster banking that Julio was going to be a 7 wins above replacement player again, like he was last year in his second year in the big leagues. That's not realistic. That's not sustainable. That's not going to happen.
Also, sophomore slump is very real.
Yeah, sophomore slump is real. He's realistically more on pace to be, a 4 to 5 wins above replacement player this year, which is still fucking phenomenal. But we kind of just, backed off on kind of building a roster outside of Julio because we, banked on him being a 7 wins above replacement player again this year, which is not usually going to happen in your second season.
Yeah, it's hard to expect that from a guy every year. He does look like he has a lot of potential to be a superstar and grow into his own shoes. That he signed a giant contract, Rookie of the Year, Home Run Derby, second place Home Run Derby behind Juan Soto. He put his face and name on the big stage, and he's got to prove it. He's got to grow into his own shoes and mature into the league and go hunting for his pitch and make the pitcher come to him and be scary up there rather than being. He has so many holes right now, weaknesses that pitchers can attack because they know he's going to be aggressive, and he'll grow into it. But speaking of slump, man, Kelenic has been slumping again, and I'm not sure what kind of adjustments he's going to make. I don't know. I haven't seen any adjustments yet. He's striking out a lot. When he hits the ball well, it looks really good. I think there's still a lot of potential there, but he's slumping pretty hard. Are we looking for a left-handed outfielder bat at the trade deadline too?
Possibly. Who do you have in mind?
I mean, I got a couple guys in mind. Cody Bellinger's a name that's been thrown around a lot. He's a guy that has been injured and has been coming back, pretty well this last year. He's been hitting the ball pretty well this year. He's on the Cubs right now. Marcus Stroman is over there too, and he's not getting extended. It seems like the front office and Stroman are having issues as usual. But Bellinger, Stroman seems like a decent package for the Mariners if we want some veteran leadership on our staff and to really shore that up, as well as getting a left-handed outfield bat / DH, first baseman, whatever. Cody Bellinger's a good athlete, and he's been hitting well again.
Yeah, it's a good point. Cubs are definitely going to be sellers at this deadline. I mean, it's too early to call your season over, but they're pretty much, we can say they're pretty much out of the playoff picture at this point. So they're going to be, looking to stock up on, we could even do it without even trading a major league arm or anything. They need young pitching, maybe a couple young position players. We could make a move like that, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that'd be okay.
Do you guys think that if we are looking for another outfield bat, that the Mariners would be willing to shop Kelenic?
Yeah, good question.
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that, but it's worth talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we don't want to we've been on a roller coaster with Kelenic. I like the way that he's been playing this year. The flashes are still there, but I guess it's kind of up to the Mariners to be all right, do we think he's ever gonna reach that peak, or is he just gonna be kind of hit or miss and try to move on from him? I don't know how I feel about it.
That's a good question. What do you think, Gerrit?
The other option is to DFA Pollock and then have a rotating left field DH with Kelenic and Bellinger.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Where we have Pollock on the bench, we're paying him $10 million, and it's halfway through the season, and we're hardly using him. Even if we still give Kelenic the run, we don't really have to trade him. We can give him a shot. And, if he ends up doing so badly that we have to DFA him, then so be it. But, because he doesn't have any more options, it does make that trade piece interesting. Because he did start off the season hot, maybe some teams see that high peak potential and would actually want to trade for him.
Although there's no way Kelenic is going to get DFA'd. No matter even if he's completely in the shitter, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't see a DFA happening for Kelenic.
I think we give him the whole year this year. But I do think it'd be a good idea to DFA Pollock and upgrade with somebody like Bellinger. I was also thinking about a guy like Eddie Rosario from the Braves. Like, the Braves have so many starting pitching injuries, and we have starting pitching strength. If they need somebody, they might be willing to give up someone like Eddie Rosario, who only has 1 year left on his contract with like a club option, I think, in next year, like 1.5 years. And they have a young guy, Michael Harris the second over there.
That dude's dope.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
So they have a decent depth in their outfield, and maybe they'd be willing to give up an Eddie Rosario left-handed outfield bat for some of our starting pitching depth, since they have so many woes over there. All these guys would be an upgrade from Pollock, right? I was thinking Pollock and Wong are kind of DFA-able if we can get nice poppy left-handed bats at second base in an outfield/DH type situation.
Speaking of Pollock, with Ford's 2 home runs today, he's played 19 games with us since being called up. He has 6 home runs.
Let's
That's
go.
one more home run than our DH position has combined for at this point in the season.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Let's
huge
go, Mike
upgrade for Mike
Ford.
Ford. Pollock is definitely tradable, DFA-able. DFA him, clear up some roster space.
Yeah,
Get someone off the 40-man roster, and let's go make a move, pick up some pieces.
Well, also, Dipoto has stated that he's aware that he needs to make some moves at the deadline, which is positive to see. I don't believe they're going to throw in the towel on this season, especially if they know that Mariners are late bloomers and they believe in the team that they've built and they add a couple pieces at the deadline. At least it shows that the organization is trying. They're not waving the white flag. Then again, what if we get to the deadline, the Mariners don't do dick? Then I'll be on a hissy fit on the pod. But no, I still trust Dipoto. He hasn't been perfect. I like a lot of the moves that he's made. And again, we don't know what his hands are tied with due to budget constraints from the rest of ownership. So we can't speak too much on that. But I do have faith in Dipoto, and I think he will make the right moves at the deadline and give the Mariners a serious push.
Yeah, and we're going to need it. We're by no means dead in the water right now. We're 3.5 back of the wild card, the third wild card spot. I think 4.5 back of the top wild card spot. So we're very much in that race. And I think, to be honest, we knew kind of coming into the season, winning the division would be amazing. That's what you should always strive for. But I think we were coming in as a wild card team the whole time. We're not probably going to catch Texas. They're 10.5 up on us right now. But, weird things could happen. That's realistically a bad month for Texas and a good month for us, away from us being right up there, maybe a half game back or a game back or something. But, we're 3.5 back of the wild card going into the trade deadline. You need to make moves, and you have to make a run. This is kind of getting to go time.
Yeah, the front office definitely knows that it's time to make big moves. What they do best is make trades, and I'm sure that they're working on it. They have to make this team better. We have so many holes. We have so many zeros right now that, I don't know. Everyone knows, though. The players know, the front office knows, and I don't think they're going to come up null. They're not going to just do nothing. They're not going to just trade for some more bum pieces, because I've heard Dipoto even say, he's like, I take full responsibility for this roster construction, but the players have to play too, but he does take responsibility for the how we signed free agents and everything like that, and he knows that he has to make some splashy moves, just like he got Castillo last year. Like, if we need to add left-handed pitching also, like what about Blake Snell? What if you bring in a hometown guy, Blake Snell? He's already traded with the Padres, and Snell seems to be doing okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Patrick's allergic to Blake Snell. I don't think we can.
Yeah, I know. He's a Blake Snell hater, so I don't know. What do you think about like shoring up pitching? Do we even need to, or it seems like we'll trade from our pitching, but do we get a guy like Stroman or Snell because they have the experience and like I don't know, the know-how and the strikeout rate that we need?
I could see more so Stroman on the Cubs. However, he has been known to have a little bit of an attitude and can be a little bit difficult to work with.
Do we need attitude?
You know, he could come in and have this attitude that really like kind of jump starts the team and everyone meshes well, or he could come in and it kind of backfires and then our team chemistry is hurting even more. So it's definitely a kind of gamble, and that is something that the front office and like so they would look into like player personality and shit and see how he would fit in with the club and if he would be a good fit here. Blake Snell, I don't know. It would be cool for a hometown kid to come pitch for us. He's been up and down. He was so dominant early on, and now it's
stellar with the Rays.
Yeah.
I did notice he still has like an over 11 strikeout per 9 rate. So, and he still has like a 3.3 ERA. He's been pitching pretty well this season and might be back on track. So, I don't
Walks
know.
a lot of guys though. But maybe a little change of scenery will do him some good.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just to get another guy on the table. We were even talking about him in the offseason, last year, all through the offseason. Same with Bellinger. Like, he was an offseason guy I was thinking about. There's options out there for the Mariners. It's not a huge trade market right now. I don't know if there's any really big names on the trade market.
It's still pretty early, though. And it's kind of one of those things where it slowly builds. All the rumors start circulating and then kind of lulls. And then the floodgates open. And then once that dam kind of breaks, everyone starts trading. And some big names really start getting moved.
A few trades have been made. The Angels were trading for some depth because Rendon is hurt again. Their shortstop Neto is hurt. Their rookie shortstop. So they went and got who'd they get? Nate, Mike Moustakas?
Mike Moustakas.
Yeah, they just in the middle of their series about an hour ago
Breaking
as we
news.
started recording. Breaking news, breaking to you live on the podcast that you won't hear until Sunday or Monday. But yeah, the Angels just traded for Mike Moustakas on the Rockies as they're in the middle of their series. So Mike Moustakas walks across the clubhouse to the other dugout for the rest of the series.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
I bet he wished he could have done it halfway through today's game. You see that score? It was like 20. It was like 24-0 in the 7th inning.
Yeah, they won 25-1, and they also broke club records for most hits and most home runs in a game.
It's crazy.
It was a gnarly one.
Yeah, the Angels, they traded for, I think, Eduardo Escobar. And they traded with the Mets for another infielder as well because they needed.
Oh, I
bad.
saw that.
Oh, that was earlier. Yeah, earlier this week.
Yeah, so I mean, trades are starting to happen. They're doing it out of necessity for major league level talent. Instead of pulling up from the minors, they need someone that can fill in right now because they're actually in the mix and not trading Shohei Ohtani and think they can be a wild card team, which right now they are. They've been playing
well.
pretty well. And we'll see. I mean, the Angels aren't sellers, so there's no big Shohei market. We're doing our best to identify players that would be good for our team, in our opinion, and trying to do the research out there and see which kind of contracts we can get. Guys that are on the end of their contract with the team or only have like one more year of control after that. Those are guys like Edman, Bellinger, Stroman, Rosario, Snell. All those guys are veterans like that. Brendan Donovan is a guy. Lars Nootbaar is a guy that we'd have years of control and go through arbitration. So We're gonna keep looking and see what kind of teams become sellers by the end of July too. You know, a lot can change in a month, and
Over a month.
yeah,
Over a month, yeah. And it's going to be a weird deadline because in the AL, there's a lot of teams that are still really in the mix. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams within 4 games of that third wild card spot. And there's 4 teams currently, as of this Saturday, June 24th, in that wild card spot, because the Angels now with their win today are tied with Toronto. So there's kind of 4 teams in that 3 wild card spot, and then you got Houston, Boston, us, and Cleveland are really still in it. Detroit's probably out, and then White Sox, A's, and Royals are not going to do anything. And then in the NL, it's a little bit more spread out. You have 3 teams that are within 6 games of that wild card spot, but I mean, that's a good and a bad week away from, making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. So I feel like it's going to come right down to the deadline until teams decide if they're buyers or sellers.
Also, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how many of those kind of middling of the pack teams, like if any of them have terrible ownership and they're just like, you know what, we're not even going to go for it this season, just kind of throw in the towel. We'll be curious to see, what kind of teams do that, and hopefully the Mariners are not one of them. I do feel that also if a trade comes, it will most likely will be through the National League because, like Nate said, it's such a close race in the American League. And then, there's just not that many sellers. The White Sox probably are willing to trade off some shit, and, I mean, who knows what Oakland's trying to do. Half their players are, like, living in dorms still.
if the White Sox become sellers, they have some legit pieces over there, man. Not to say we should get Tim Anderson, but guys like Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez, and Louis Robert, they are all on like team-friendly contracts, dude. They're signed up for not a lot of money for what they can do on a baseball field. If they become sellers, Robert and Eloy and Anderson, I think will all become huge trade targets for a lot of teams.
Along with the trade deadline, All-Star Game is coming up, and Julio Rodriguez has already confirmed that he's going to be in the home run derby in front of the hometown crowd.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. I will be there.
He lost to Juan Soto last year.
Despite hitting more home runs in a home run hitting competition.
Yeah. The system that they had was not ideal.
And you know what's crazy is this system is still a million times better than what it was even like 5 years ago. It used to be awful. Now it's just kind of bad.
Just went from awful to kind of bad.
It's still very much fun, and the new ways of it, because it used to be just 10 outs. If you hit 10 balls that were not home runs,
You're done.
And then you took your scores, and it also went like round by round, like it didn't always carry over and stuff. Same with like now they have the timing where it's like under a set clock, and then if you hit 2 home runs over like 430 feet,
It's like 440, I think.
yeah, you
Something
get
you
you
get
get
extra.
bonus time, and
Yeah.
the time aspect of it is kind of cool. It definitely makes it more entertaining and fast paced, but still, it doesn't really make sense if you're having a home run competition. The person who hit the most home runs doesn't win due to the scores not carrying into the final round.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they'll fix that eventually. It's going to keep iterating, you know. I think this is a fun product, though. The timer kind of puts a little bit of extra pressure on the batter and the pitcher, and the crowd looks at the clock and watches it, like the tension build down to the last second and everything. Like, instead of a guy just out there taking his time and, like, you know, not having to worry about getting tired and stuff, like they can kind of take a time out and the pitcher can regroup. Like, it used to be kind of more boring. I think this is a really exciting version of it, and it'll get better. I think the MLB has to realize that the player that hits the most home runs should win the damn thing.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, you
They
would think
have
so.
to.
You would think.
It'll change.
Another thing I wish baseball would do is some type of skills competition outside of the home run derby. Out of all of the sports, like All-Star weeks, hockey by far has the coolest All-Star week.
They have so many cool skills comps.
Yeah, they have speed skating. They have like trick shots. They have
Like hardest slap shot.
Agility stuff too.
Yes, tons of agility stuff. And yeah, like they have like a trick shot competition. It's all really, really cool. And also the way they do their All-Star game is like they have like 3 teams and it's kind of like a round robin All-Star game. It's pretty fun. And then also basketball has a pretty cool one with like rookie stuff, skills competition, dunk contest, 3-point shooting. And football kind of does some cool shit, but their weekend, no one cares about the Pro Bowl and stuff like that. No one watches it. Some of the skill competitions are kind of fun, but baseball really needs to hop on that bandwagon. Have a bunting competition. Have trick double play competitions. I don't know.
Set up some targets on the field where like it's not just a home run hitting contest, but have like Luis Arraez out there hitting targets. You know what I mean? Like some kind of skills throwing from the outfield, like throws from the outfield. Like
I was
going to
ask like what skills comps would you want to see in the All-Star game, because I doubt any team is going to be down to like send their franchise outfield out there to do like who can record the hardest throw from the outfield, you know?
That is
throw
true.
your arm out trying to throw 108 miles an hour from the outfield to home plate
halfway through the season.
Yeah.
That is another good point too, and that is something that kind of is a little bit of a challenge for the All-Star week for baseball, is because one, the season is so long, you have to take care of your body so well. And honestly, that's why a lot of players don't participate in the home run derby even, because that type of strain and the intense max hitting over and over and over again can sometimes lead to injuries, or it can kind of mess with your swing and affect how you end up hitting coming out of the All-Star break. And we saw it with Julio last year. Julio hurt his wrist during the All-Star or the home run derby.
You could say the same thing about the World Baseball Classic. You know, some people just opt out of it because they don't want to hurt themselves. I mean, at the beginning of the season, but halfway through the season, that hurts too.
Yeah, and a lot of players rely on the All-Star weekend to get the most rest they have gotten in 3 months, and they'll get in another 4 months. Like, this is their one time to really rest up. And even, you know, the All-Star game isn't taken too seriously. They're still out there trying and stuff. It's not a joke like the Pro Bowl is, but yeah, it's just to go max effort. And then, yeah, if there was some type of throwing competition, you could still do some type of bunt competition. Or
And what about trick double plays?
I like that, kind of like a slam dunk kind of like comp like the NBA has. Like do like a trick double play comp where like judges score it out of 10. You know, you're not really at risk of getting injured because, you know, you have like a pitching machine like feeding you grounders, and you do like a behind the back between the legs flip or something.
To bare hand.
That's not
turn
not as bad as like throwing 105 from the outfield.
Yeah, I've loved the idea for trick double play competitions. We used to do that in high school, like if it was raining or whatever, and we were just messing around like inside, we would set up and do like kind of fun trick double plays and gnarly feeds and stuff like that. Me and a buddy, shout out Sam Cook, we actually won it. It was like a bouncing ball, and I kind of fielded it, like bent over behind my back and like scooped it into his bare hand and fired to first. It was.
What if they just did a giant game of flip? You remember flip?
Oh yeah,
Playing
or
flip
like
with your glove,
pepper.
like every All-Star. What is that? Like 160 something people in a giant circle,
It's
just
like a
playing flip
Fortnite.
until you get down to the last one.
The circle starts getting smaller. You're in the storm.
Play a little pepper or something, or something cool like that that doesn't risk you throwing out your arm or suffering a career-ending injury.
Also, MLB, if you would like to hire us as consultants, we will brainstorm and come
We
up with
have
something.
some good ideas.
Who can get the most break on a breaking ball?
Yeah. most horizontal break. Like, just go out there. It's not your best pitch to a hitter necessarily.
Yeah, no
but
batter
like,
in the box or anything.
Who can throw the best, like the biggest sweeper? Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that's asking someone to tear their UCL.
that's true.
What if you
Just
did?
don't.
What if
Don't
you
throw
had pitchers just mess around least rotation on a knuckleball?
Yeah,
Because that way you're
There
not
you go.
straining your arm at all, and you could have
Knuckleballs.
some fun with it.
Yeah, lowest spin rate.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of tight.
that would be sick.
Most
Knuckleball
accurate
contest.
behind the back pitch.
Dude, position players could be in a knuckleball competition too. I bet some
That's
position
true.
players have some nasty knucks.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, there's so MLB spruce it up a little bit. They do have the futures game, which is really, really exciting. But again, that's also for more if you're super into baseball. But especially, the All-Star Weekend brings in tons of casual fans that want to check that stuff out. The futures game isn't going to be as exciting to them as, something else that showcases, kind of glamorous stuff rather than.
I am going to the futures game. I'm going to all of the events. So if any of our listeners are there and want to reach out and, come say hi, give us a podcast idea or something you want to bring up and talk about,
Make Nate buy you a beer.
I will be there. I'll buy you a beer. Come say hi.
Let's put Nate in a Mariners Sogcast shirt. We need to print some shirts so you guys can be there in our shirts so they can actually come find you.
There we go. Grow the brand.
I'll be there for the whole week too.
Do you guys care about the celebrity softball game?
I'm skipping that. I'm going to the futures game though for sure because I'm into that.
The celeb game? Joel McHale will be there. I love Joel McHale, and he's from here. He played tight end for UW. Not a lot of people know that.
Yep.
Shout out Joel McHale.
I saw Adam Jones will be on Mike Cameron's team.
Yes, that is the big thing. The former MLB players that are there. You have Ryan and Howard
Brett
from the
Boone's gonna be
Phillies
there, right?
and also The Office.
Yeah.
Brett Boone, Mike
Adam
Cameron.
Pac-Man Jones.
Different Adam Jones. Former Mariner.
Oh, but it's not a different Ryan Howard.
Adam Jones, who the Mariners famously traded away for Eric, I don't feel like pitching today, Bedard.
Mistake.
One of the worst trades ever. I absolutely love Adam Jones, and I am so excited that he's going to be a part of it. Huge fan of him. Mike Cameron will be there. Felix Hernandez will be there.
Brett Boone.
Also from WWE, The Miz
That's a weird one.
is going to be there. And then it was like a bunch of people. I don't know. Someone is like some lady from Dance Moms in
Yeah,
Catherine.
that's JoJo Siwa. She's real famous.
Yeah, I had no idea who that is.
Yeah, I think she did like YouTube stuff.
And there's some guy named like Yendel.
Yep, he's on there. We got Adam Devine.
Yeah, from Workaholics.
Did we say that one already?
No.
Oh, well, there you go.
When I first saw it, I thought it was Adam Levine. Because
From Maroon 5.
I was like, oh shit, they got Maroon 5 in the house.
He's gonna falsetto his way to first base.
Also, I think it's because there's also Zach Levine, who's another hometown guy in the NBA. I won a dunk competition a few years back. So, you know what? I was surprised Macklemore wasn't in it.
Yeah, was he in one a couple years ago?
He might have been in that Richard Sherman. He was in that Richard Sherman celebrity softball game way back
That's
when
right,
LOB
okay.
was popping off.
Yeah, I think they still have people to announce too. This is just like their first round of announcements, right?
Yeah, I would be surprised if Macklemore wasn't a part of it. Also, Marshawn Lynch will probably show up.
That'd be sweet. I like watching that guy try and swing a bat.
Marshawn Lynch is a
be
national
funny.
treasure.
I love watching any other athlete from any sport besides baseball try to play baseball. It's always excellent. Do you see that kid throw out the first pitch? Some kid who's about
he's
to
the
get-
first round.
Victor
Yeah, he's
Wembe,
about to get
Wembe-Yamba. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the first round or first overall pick in the NBA.
Yeah, and he sails one. Like, dude, you've never thrown a baseball in your life? That's awesome. I love when that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. The celebrity softball game is all right. It's fun to watch, but like, yeah, I'd rather watch the futures game. Like, there's a ton of
Yeah.
young talent in MLB, but it always is fun to watch the celebrity.
If you like
softball
They have
game,
fun
baseball,
with it,
the
yeah.
futures game is
Yeah.
better.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for it to all be here. Like, we get the chance to go see all that. Even like the little fan fest thing they're doing across the street at Lumen Field is going to be super cool. I'm going with that. It's going to be fun. They're having a bunch of former MLB players there, like doing like different panels, talking and stuff. They have like cool like fan experiences, like virtual home run derbies and stuff. So
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
should be a good weekend for the city of Seattle and hopefully bring some hype and some energy to the Mariners.
Also, I was there in 2001 when it was at Safeco.
Wow.
I was there for all of it too. My dad and I still had season tickets at that time, and yeah, that was sick. I don't remember as much of it. I was like 10 years old, but Luis Gonzalez on the Arizona Diamondbacks won the home run derby. I do remember that. And the celeb softball game, the teams were it was like the Frappuccinos versus the Cappuccinos. And like 10-year-old me was like, that's lame.
That's lame. I was 4.5 years old and did not get to go to that. My dad went, but I didn't get to go or remember any of that.
I didn't go. I was 11, but I do remember watching it and Cal Ripken Jr. hitting the home run and A-Rod switching places with him on the field and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool to watch, and all the Mariners being part of it. We had like 40 Mariners on the team.
Squatted up. For the
Yeah,
hill.
it was like 9 Mariners. So half the team, I was like, oh, I already know these guys. That's exciting.
Yeah, watch the Mariners play the National League.
Yeah. Also, there's still a plaque in the bullpen at T-Mobile where Cal Ripken Jr. hit that home run in the All-Star game. It was his final All-Star. It was the final season of his career. And, I mean, he was never a power hitter. It was obviously groove to him. It doesn't matter. It was such a cool moment. The crowd got so loud. That was huge. And, yeah, they have a little plaque commemorating it in the bullpen.
Well, are the Mariners going to have more than one All-Star this year? I mean, we have to have one, right? And to me, it's George Kirby so far over Castillo or Seawald. Do we have bench players that they vote on too? Like, because the fans vote on starting players. Do the coaches and players vote on bench players as well? Like
MLB
position
designates
players?
one player per team, and I think it can be a pitcher or a position player.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, pitchers are picked by, it's like a weird combo of like coaches, writers, and players. I feel like MLB's like just gonna put Julio in it. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. And then like the coaches and players would probably pick like Kirby and maybe even Castillo. I don't know. So we might have 2, maybe 3.
What about
Might be a
Seawald?
stretch.
Or
Yeah.
Seawald hasn't been used enough. I don't think he's really racked up the numbers to be an all-star.
I don't think he's getting designated over like a, like a Felix Bautista or
yeah.
can't even think of another AL relief right now, but
There's
yeah.
that
Yes.
Duran.
Yeah,
on the
Johan
Twins.
Duran, yeah.
That dude is nasty.
That's right. Yeah, there's quite a few good pitchers. I mean, I just think they might give us a couple, just, give us 2 or 3 just because it's in our town if they're nice. But, like, I don't know. I could see the Mariners having 2 players on the All-Star team.
I could see that. I'd say best case we have 3.
Yeah.
I think it's Julio. They'll probably just give it to him. Yeah, even though if he's not necessarily having an all-star type season. I could also see it leading to some controversy because, making the all-star team is big for a player, just like personally, even though it's like with the fan vote and stuff, sometimes people get voted in who probably shouldn't be there, but it's a big accomplishment to make the all-star team. And if they gift Julio a spot and it does take away a spot from someone who might be more deserving, I could see that being kind of an issue. But I also see them making Julio into the All-Star game.
Well,
I think that's why they might be saving face by having them announced for the Home Run Derby early, because you can be in the Home Run Derby and not be in the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be the way of having Julio be a part of the festivities, and then maybe George Kirby as our representative as a pitcher.
Well, also, the entire country of Canada just votes in all the Blue Jays every year, so
it sways the voting.
I don't really care if we get like 2 or 3 like gimme all-stars or whatever. Fan voting is
It's the
corrupt
All-Star
and dog
game.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah, all of Canada voting for one team definitely drives things. And it's an all-star game. Like, it's halfway through the season. It doesn't represent who did the best all year long in that year. It just represents who had the best first
Popularity
half.
contest.
It is
yeah.
a popularity
Slash
contest.
what city voted the most, and it's rough. And I think the Mariners will have a 2 or 3 on the team or like even just players around in general. They're just going to be a Mariners atmosphere, and even like all the former Mariner players will be there too, I think. So it'll be a very Mariners atmosphere regardless of how many Mariners this year. Because everyone knows the Mariners are struggling. We expected it to be a Mariner heavy all-star game in Seattle because we had high expectations for the first half, which haven't been lived up to. But we're hanging around, and the Mariners still are a good team, but we haven't had many position players playing at an all-star pace, and it's very in your face now that we're seeing that none of our players got enough votes to start the all-star game. It's very apparent nobody is performing at that rate. Until recently, things have been picking up. Teoscar Hernandez is looking great. Ty France is really coming around. Cal Raleigh in the last week is heating up a little bit. Things are coming around. We have guys that in the second half will perform at an all-star pace, and it'll be more important than making the all-star game when it comes down to the end of the season and we're in the wild card race.
And Teoscar's had a really good last month. If he had played like that all season long, he would be in the all-star game. Unfortunately, it's taken him a little too long to start cooking. But, again, the all-star game it's more important what he brings to the table than if he had enough first half stats to make the all-star game. But this last month has been all-star caliber. He has become the player that we wanted him to be, and he's hitting the hell out of the ball. He's had some really nice at-bats.
Still chasing low and away a lot, but he's hitting home runs. He's hitting the ball.
His base running still leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's made big improvements from the beginning of the season. That's what's important now. We can nitpick his at-bats or whatever, but he's really coming around a lot.
He's doing what we expect him to do and a little bit more right now. Like, we can expect him to come down to earth a little bit, but he is going to have these hot streaks more often, and he is a fairly clutch player. Watching him with the Blue Jays the last couple of years has been pretty good. There's many highlights of Teoscar blasting clutch home runs, and I'm glad we have him on our team, and I've been glad the whole time, but it's tough to watch him strike out so much. But now start coming around, like apparently a notorious slow starter. I don't know, and he knows that when June comes around, the weather gets warmer, that he's going to get better and hopefully stay like that all year long. He's a huge punch in our lineup, and we need him to keep doing what he's doing.
And hopefully he keeps it up tomorrow, going for the series win against the Orioles. And then coming back home, the Mariners play the Nationals. And that is a team they need to beat up on. They need to take the series against the Nationals. And more often than not this year, the Mariners have beaten the teams that they were supposed to beat. Managed to get the series win against the White Sox. And again, those are teams that you have to be beating. So as long as they're not floundering, they're not dropping, and as long as they keep performing well and against these teams that they should be beating, then it just takes a few good series against some better teams, and you're right back in it and right ready to go, like in the standings. So, yeah,
Dude,
keep it up.
Speaking of standings, I did a little bit of math, and we have to win 2/3 of our games to get to around 94 wins is what I came up with. So,
500 on the road plus at home. We can do it.
No, we have to win 2/3 of our games the rest of the season to have 94 wins, which is kind of what we're shooting for, to be in a good spot for wild card. Like 90's good for what the Mariners have been doing. That's what we've been at. But look at how many teams are really taking off in the American League this year and are going to be into the wild card race. Who knows for how long, but we have to really get hot. And like I've been saying, it's prove it time. This episode will come out on Monday probably, so the beginning of the series with the Nationals. So hopefully yesterday we kicked ass against the Orioles, took the series, and come into this series hot and like go for the sweep, honestly. The Nationals are a team that I think the Mariners can beat up on and keep things rolling. So after that, we play the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's going to be a tough series.
Yeah. So if we can stay hot through the National Series and keep our offense clicking and go and playing the Rays while swinging a hot bat and pitching well like we always do, then we have a good shot to win against a good team for once. It's been tough to win against teams over 500 for the Mariners, but we did it against the Marlins. We put up a decent fight against the Yankees and probably could have taken that series. We took it from the White Sox because they suck. But the Orioles, I mean, they're a really hot team, and we have a chance to take this series. And I think it is prove-it time for the Mariners. They have to come out and swing it again and show that we are that team because there is so much potential. It's just hard to make it if we're just in the middle. We're just going to be the barometer for the league, like I guess John Boy says. Like, you lose against better teams with a better record. You win against teams with a worse record. And that's where you sit all year long. And that's where we've been. Something's got to change. It seems to be changing. I think we've turned a corner.
Teo says they're sticking to a plan now.
That's right.
He says there's a team mentality.
That's right.
Which is what you've been saying for weeks.
That's right. I've been saying this. And he's like, we didn't really have a plan. He's been saying... Now he's saying, dude, yeah, we got each other's backs. We're playing for each other. That team chemistry that I've been talking about is coming together, where they're all in it together. And for a team plan to attack the starting pitcher, get to the starting pitcher so we can get to the bullpen, wear out their bullpen so they're tired for the rest of the series. And
Mariners have been chasing away starters pretty good recently.
Yes. It's been like, I don't know, like 5 straight games, I think, that we haven't had an opposing pitcher get past the 5th inning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Keep doing that.
Yeah, keep doing all the good stuff well and stop doing all the bad stuff that you're doing.
Yeah,
And
come
then-
on.
Yeah, come on, Mariners.
And we'll be back with you guys next week to fill in hopefully more happy news and a little bit better record above 500. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends.
Subscribe on YouTube. Once we hit 50 subscribers, we can go live. We'll start doing live videos for y'all. So
That would be
hit
fun.
that sub button.
Yeah, and for all of our people that have already subscribed, thank you so much for being a part of it. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much for listening and being a fan. We really appreciate it, and we will talk to you next week with more Mariners news. Thank you all, and
Go Mariners! The 1,000 miles to sail down at your door.
girl, give me that hot, hot piss.